And here we go. Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I love that I have created this podcast because as it continues to grow, it reaches different people or the same people around the world. Today is June 3rd. We're sitting at 21 degrees Celsius with a high of 23 and a low 14. So there you go. It's been okay weather. It's been pretty rainy today, I think. It was raining for a bit and then it got sunny. Just fixing my bracelet here. So what is on the docket today? I do love talking about relationships, but one of the things that I was looking at is entities. And so I'll just kind of give you guys or entities and or demons as well. So if you guys are really sensitive to demons and freak out, this might not be the podcast for you today. I don't know how long I'll riff on that for, but I'll also start by giving you guys some resources for these topics that I will touch on. What was that sound? Is it every time I'm doing a podcast, I'm hearing sound in this room, and I haven't been in this room for I'm never in this room actually. So, anyways, um, so for an advertisement, there is a resource from Dr. Dane here called the Demon Clearing Bundle. The website is www.shop.drdanehere.com/demons. So I would recommend that. And then there's also there is a website called Talk to the Entities as well. There's a lot of great resources there, a lot of classes, a lot of information. Recently, Demystifying Demons came out. It's a call, which is actually pretty darn cool. I listened to it and I definitely recommend it. So the clearing statement has changed. There's also a podcast as well, and it's Demons with Shannon O'Hara. So it's the Consciousness Anywhere podcast, and I definitely recommend taking a look at that and taking a look at the website. So yeah, just make sure I got that website right. Yeah, so it's talktotheentities.com. So there you go. There are some references for you guys to take a look at and check out, all of which I do recommend. But I was just going to talk about the experiences that I've had lately and the fact that it's kind of on par, or maybe my entity awareness is starting to grow now. Can't remember the last class that I took. It was, actually, I remember Allison Cox came to Vancouver. Was that 2024? I'd have to take a look, but yeah. But that was the last class that I had taken, and a lot has changed since then. There's been a lot of updates to the manuals and stuff. But no, lately, okay, so in my space, I started kind of seeing these like shadows. And I was like, okay, what is that? And I'll at the same time, I try to blind myself, to these entities and demons. And I also realized that part of clearing these entities and demons could be being very strong with clearing it and being very present and being like, okay, like basically get the fuck out of here. That's not the clearing statement. But for me, myself personally, it's like, what is this entity doing here? And so one night, I was getting ready for bed and I noticed this shadow by my door and I was like, okay, like, is this going to leave? And there's this interesting thing that happened as well. So that night, when I went to sleep, I woke up and took a couple of selfies that I don't remember taking. I vaguely remember taking, and I was like, oh, is this like an entity, taking over my body and like playing some tricks on me and like, or is it a demon? And I find that very interesting. But yeah, so and then the other night again, it's seeing these like shadows, and I'm like, okay, so you know, do I have the power to clear these? Like, what would it take for them to go away? What makes these entities so dormant? And what are they doing hanging out here? I could get to work and be like, okay, start clearing these entities. However, I mean, I have. So I find it very interesting. I also wondered if there were a couple of movies that I'd watched that opened up the energy or some sort of a portal for these entities to be invited into my reality or my sphere, my realm, my world, whatever. I watched the movie Obsession, and it was very interesting and it's creepy. I actually watched it twice because two separate people wanted to go. And on TikTok, I had seen that one person had coined what had happened in the movie to be a possession by a demon entity. And I was like, oh, that totally makes sense. So I was like, but as soon as I saw that entity, it felt as though immediately that was like an invitation. And I was like, oh God, like what exactly am I, you know, focusing my energy on? It is definitely not to invite entities. If anything, it's clearing them. But yeah, so that was the movie Obsession. And then the other movie that I saw recently was Back Rooms. There were entities within that movie, but I perceived it as the characters, different consciousness levels and different personalities and different monsters that they carried with them. So yeah. But anyways, when I did look at the fact that I had seen the movie Obsession and the fact that the girl did get possessed and they are playing around with magic, like the wish stick and everything, it was like, oh, okay, like I wonder what this is creating in my life. Because I'm not one to usually like invoke entities and, start, I guess. I personally, so a long, long time ago, like when I was very young, like maybe I want to say like 11, but maybe the age of like 14. I don't know. I was talking with a family member and I was like, well, do you believe in ghosts? And they were like, yeah, they're around, they're just everywhere. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, I probably said something like, oh, I'm afraid of them or I'm scared or I don't want to see them. And the family member was like, oh, you just tell them to go away. It's that easy. And I was like, oh, okay. But from then on, I was like, okay, just go away. So it's not quite like a part of my world. I'm not like heavily into communicating with ghosts, or I mean the awareness is starting to prevail more and more. Oh, so the reason why I did talk about, I think it was Obsession and the back door or back rooms, and there was something else I was doing. And at the blink of an eye, excuse me, my throat's been acting funny lately. I'm not sure what's going on. It could be the smoothie that I had, whatever. So I looked at um and the blink of an eye, and I was looking at what I was doing. At the blink of an eye, I saw this entity that it kind of looked like, and it reminded me of the Avatar. You know the oh my God, I'll look the evil avatars in the last newest Avatar that came out. So um so it was, well, the dark avatars. Okay, there we go. So hold on here. But it was more like this lighter face with red and dark black, bold outlining or something, and it was very interesting. And I saw this entity at the blink of an eye. And I was like, but I did ask, okay, is this an ancestor? Is this a demon? Is this an entity? I thought it was more maybe an ancestor, but it looked very different. And a long time ago, back in 2019, I was not feeling well. I was feeling pretty sick. I was like the worst I'd ever felt. But for some reason, where I was living, I was getting these like weird rashes on my body. I don't know what was going on, but I was stumbling to the bathroom to get sick. And this entity, full body, legs, arms, body, head, everything, but very dark, like a dark blue, almost close to black, but very dark entity with like almost like roots, like black veins and like dark, dark, dark blue, like the darkest blue you could think of, was standing at my door. And I walked like blocking my door. And so what I had to do was kind of walk around this entity through my door. And I was like, what the heck? And I just continued to get sick. And I, ended up going to the hospital. But it's like, I had to ask, what was that? Was that an ancestor? And I got that. Yeah, it is. I got some facilitation around it too. But it's like, but it's also just an awareness. So if you're listening to this and you're kind of either interested or there's a lot of different, feelings, thoughts, and emotions that can come up with this. But as I'm just talking about this, I'm looking at my perception. So it's like, what do I perceive with entities? What am I aware of? And like, what's required is a good question. Because not all times is it communication. It could be many other things. But yeah, so, and I've had a lot of ghosts pop up in my life too, but I kind of found it interesting and useful that the entity clearing has now been upgraded. Um, and that's kind of helpful because I have been running it, because it's like, if I'm in my space and there's an unwanted entity here, or like whether it's an entity or a demon, so the demon clearing has been updated. It's renewed, it's upgraded, it's like brand new. So, you know, so I would say that like I will definitely utilize that, because it's like, if these entities aren't clearing, then what like I will continue to practice that and get present until they're completely gone. It was interesting though with this space. Let me tell you about this space. So there was someone here. We were moving in. This person was helping me move in, but like I would hear these noises. And one day we're on one side of this house, and my friend says, "Oh, there's someone coming around the door," because we heard footsteps. And I was like, "Okay, cool." So we're waiting for someone to come to the door and knock on the door, but nothing appeared at the door. And I was like, "Oh, that's weird." So we started looking around, but we heard footsteps and there was nobody at the door to knock on the door. Um, and then so that was one time. First time I was by myself, I heard footsteps and I thought, uh-oh, someone's demon's coming to kill me. Like, and it was a joke, but I kind of started laughing and I was like, that's interesting. There were many other things that have happened. I think I wrote them down actually. Let's see here. Funny enough, if I did, that'd be great, because then I'd be like, oh, all the things that happened. Nope. Let's see if I put it under entity. The time I summoned my necklace. Um, okay, one more. Oh my God, I get so freaked out when I hear things in this place. Oh, there we go. Oh no, there was like, yeah, that's something completely different. I wonder. Interesting. I guess I didn't write it down, but it was crazy. The craziest things have been happening here. I tell you, it's like this entity activity. So I wondered, like, like, is this someone that has passed? Is this the location? Is this a burial site? Like, I started asking these questions. And then I decided to kind of clear with sage and sweetgrass. And that did help. And one of my family members said, just open the door and tell them to leave. Say, just, you're no longer welcome here. Please leave. But then get this. So I open the door, I take my time, and I say, okay, leave. You're no longer welcome here. The entity must have left. But guess what? That was when my friend and I heard footsteps walking around outside. So the entity went outside. They just went on the out exterior. So it's like, now what? Okay, please know that you have passed away and go find another space to haunt or go to the light or like there you don't have to be binded to the space type of thing. But yeah. Um it's been interesting, this entity journey, especially with a new space and with new things happening, new awarenesses, new perceptions, and everything. I know that there is a lot that can be looked at in this world. So I just kind of keep kind of studying it and using the tools as I go. But yeah, so that is one of the things that I wanted to touch on today because it did. So, what I'm sharing with you guys is one, the updates and the resources. That's always great. And two, the things that I have looked at, that I have gone through, the things that I experience. You know, every time every time I hear a noise, sometimes I kind of jump up and I'm like, hey, what is that? It can, like, it doesn't happen too often, but it's also that, that perception of that shadow. I'm like, okay, what is going on here? And I know some people might not be scared at all, but for the most part, I'm not like terrified or anything. It's more just like I said, being kind of strong and just running those clearings as much as I can and as best as I can. But yeah, I uh I had to get my car rear window replaced today and dropped it off in the morning, got a nice little rental car. It was a Genesis, and the gas went pretty quick on that thing, but it was a fast, zippy little car. Interestingly enough, the road noise was pretty loud. I was like, okay. And I'm mostly grateful for the cars that don't have a lot of road noise. Because I mean that makes for a more peaceful ride. The quietest car I ever had was a Jeep Cherokee. That was nice. It was very, very quiet. It was awesome. But yeah, so finally they took all day till the end of day. I just got home not too long ago and it's like 5:30. I zip there, grab my car, zip back, happy to be home. Um, and yeah, so they took all day because they had to clear the glass out of my windshield, like out of the back rear area. And I guess that was not easy, which kind of sucks. I hope that never happens again. But yeah. And then, it's like where I was parked. I also again think of like sometimes I look at these happenings because throughout the years, people, or I would even say entities, have smashed and vandalized my vehicles. I don't know why it fucking happens to me. So when this last time I was parked downtown Vancouver, I was like, oh, what demon fucking decided to hit my fucking rear window and smash it? It kind of pissed me off, Um, because I had to pay deductible. I had to get a rental car. I had to fix the fucking window. Like I had to do so many things and it takes time out of my day. It takes time out of my life. And I couldn't really go and do the normal things that I would do. Anyways, that's just my story and I'm sticking to it. But, you know, anyways, um, yeah, that was a bit of a gong show there. The weekend was a gong show. It was a good gong show though. But oh, I also have been looking at how I've been feeling these past few days, and in the past couple of months, there were these days when I wasn't feeling 100%. And so I'd look at that and I was like, okay, so what is this? Is it going to go away? Am I getting sick? And I've never had like these faint, short, weird cold and flus. Like if anything, I typically get sick for like a whole day and it'd be unbearable. But no, it's these weird little things. And the past 2 days have been interesting because it was yesterday, it was like this weird head cold. And I was like, what's going on? Like, why is my head so freaking cloudy? And of course, I used some tools to clear it. I know if anyone's listening to this and they're like gonna ask the question and facilitate me, go for it. But I already did. So there. So and then today was interesting because I thought, oh, I'm doing good. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna do all these things. I'm gonna be fine. Nope. I was kind of like feeling a bit nauseous. And I was like nauseous to like my stomach. And I was like, wow, this is interesting because it never usually happens like that. Like it happened for a couple of hours and then went away. And I'm like, what is going on here? It's like maybe time to focus on my body. Like maybe it's time to detox and cleanse, all these things coming up for myself. And I'm like, okay. But also, what I know could help with that is running some entity clearings and stuff like that. So, yes, I have given you guys all of the resources. Can't think of any other resources out there at the moment. But yeah, so let's just see like how the schedule goes day by day. I'm happy to be doing my podcast again. I'm happy to see that like there are still a lot of downloads that happen throughout the time. Um, like I checked the stats and man, there's episodes being downloaded all the freaking time, which is amazing. So thank you all for you all listening out there. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to send them in. If you have a topic you want to hear, let me know the topic. Let me know the questions. Coming up here, I'll be having some people come on the podcast. So, great facilitators, great people, amazing conversations. So, yeah. All right, guys. Love ya. Bye.